story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV News on the hour. I am Gift Ogete. The federal government is to reduce overseas training and travels for civil servants as part of new plans to cut expenditure. Also, owners of private jets and yachts are to pay more to sustain their luxurious lifestyle. These are part of artistry measures to boost revenue in the face of dwindling oil prices. Finance Minister and Coordinated Minister for the Economy, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, announced this on Sunday night at a news conference in Abuja.
We're going to look at travel. Travel is quite extensive within the budget, and only essential travel, Mr. President has instructed, only critical travel, and it will all be very examined very closely by the head of service of the Federation, and the DG budget will get together. Only that will be allowed. Any other travel will have to be funded by whoever is inviting a public servant. These regulations will apply not just to the civil service, but to the public service, meaning the parastatals will also be guided by the same rules on spending. Because many of them generate revenue. If we can manage these kinds of expenses, that means they can remit even more revenue to the government coffers. So travel strictly restricted for next year, only essential. Foreign travel, of course, travel within the country will be allowed so that we can supervise our projects and do our work. Training will be very strongly managed. All training will be within the country. We're going to enforce that for next year. Any training outside, unless the entity inviting for training will pay all the expenses for the people coming, this training will have to be foregone.
The war of words between the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose and the Speaker of the House of Assembly Adewale Omiri has reached its peak, with the 7 PDP members of the State House of Assembly sitting in plenary and also screening political nominees of the State Governor. The State Governor had earlier warned the Speaker to respect his exalted office, with an allegation that he was acting like the Speaker of the APC and not that of Ekiti State. An allegation denied by the Speaker. But the decision by the 7 PDP members to begin sitting is one that has come out of the blues and will further fuel the already charged Ekiti political atmosphere as 2015 elections draw near and the fallout of the June 21st governorship election continues. The Speaker is from the opposition All Progressives Congress, APC, which has majority in the State House of Assembly. The All Progressives Congress has raised the alarm over what it says are police-backed acts of impunity in Ekiti State, where only 7 members of the 26-strong House of Assembly have connived to carry out an agenda including the impeachment of the Speaker. In a statement issued in Abuja on Monday by its National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed, the party said over 200 armed policemen are currently offering protection to the 7 PDP members of the House who connived purportedly or purposely to impeach the Speaker, approved the list of commissioners designated, as well as the caretaker committees for the local councils in the state. APC ordered that water and electricity supplies to the official residents of the House Speaker have been cut off, while his salaries and allowances have been stopped. It also warned that any decision taken by only 7 PDP members in the 26-member Ekiti House of Assembly will not stand. The All Progressives Congress, APC, in Ekiti State has accused Governor Ayodele Fayose of awarding the repainting of the governor's office to his blood brother at the cost of 200 million naira. It also accused the governor of awarding a contract to put marble in front of the government house, which he, Fayose, had earlier described as too expensive, while also relaying asphalt on an already asphalted road leading to the lodge. In a statement by the State Publicity Secretary Taiwo Latumbosun, the APC said artisans working on the marble are all imported from Ibadan, when many Ekiti artisans could do the job. But the governor, in his reaction through his media aide, Idowu Adelusi, says all the allegations are untrue, as the contracts were all awarded to indigenous contractors from the state and none to his brother. Former Minister of Labour and Productivity Emeka Nwogu says he is still in the Abia governorship race, contrary to speculations in certain quarters that he has given up on his ambition as a result of an alleged truce among aspirants of Ukwa Ngwa extraction to produce a consensus candidate. Nwogu made the clarification in a press conference at his Abia country home, said there was never a time any meeting was held among governorship aspirants from Okwangwa for the purpose of producing a consensus candidate. It described as bogus and deceptive campaign strategic claims by some aspirants that they have been endorsed by the state's governor. It said he had the endorsement of God, while also urging Abians to disregard the rumor that the governor had anointed a particular candidate as his successor. He expressed optimism that all aspirants will have a level playing ground during the forthcoming primaries of the People's Democratic Party in the state. As the fallout of the World Congresses of the PDP in Rivers State continues, the leadership of the party in the state has warned its governorship and other aspirants to play by the rules and be guarded by the provisions of Article 58(1) of the party's Constitution of 2012 as amended. State Chairman of the party, Felix Obwa, in a statement signed by his special advisor on media, Jerry Nidam, called on governorship aspirants and other aspirants on the platform of the party to stop making statements that will bring the name of the party into disrepute, threatening that disciplinary action would be taken against errant members. Obwa, who is reacting to statements credited to some aspirants on the platform of the party, says the party has decided not to zone the governorship of the party for the 2015 election. Obwa also reminded the aspirants that the party is superior to individuals and would not cease to conduct its programs and activities according to the provisions of its constitution. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the continuous voter registration in Kano, Lagos, Plateau, Ogun, Edo and Imo states by 2 days. Adamawa is the only one state in the third phase whose residents will not benefit from the 2-day extension. INEC said in a statement by its spokesman, Kayode Idowu, that the exercise, which commenced on Wednesday, November 12 and was scheduled to end on Monday, November 17, will now last until Wednesday, November 19th. It ordered that INEC Chairman Professor Tahiru Jega approved the extension to make up for initial challenges and the exercise, as well as to enable as many as eligible persons as possible to get registered. The Commission, however, says it will not take kindly to multiple registration during the exercise. It's CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a break and be back shortly. Just stay with us.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of
The Political Arena,
the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us at CoreTV News on the hour. Few days after another bomb blast in his domain, Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi, has called on people to defend themselves against Boko Haram attacks. Sanusi, who had been before now quiet on the attacks as central bank governor, told Kano residents at the weekend to consider acquiring what they need to protect themselves. The Emir made the comment at the prayer meeting few days after a suspected suicide bomber killed at least 5 people at a filling station. Sanusi maintained that people should not sit idle and say prayer as the only solution. He ordered that residents should not wait for help from the military. At the time, some soldiers were said to have fled on sighting the insurgents. The police in Bauchi State have confirmed that an explosion occurred in Azare, Bauchi State. State Police Commissioner Lawal Shehu, who confirmed the blast, said rescue operation was in progress. Shehu did not, however, give the number of casualties, either dead or injured, in the blast. Azare, which houses a federal government college, is coming under bombers' attack for the second time in less than 3 weeks, with the latest blast said to have occurred at the popular Jesse market in the town. Nigeria's military says troops have retaken Chibok from Boko Haram few days after the insurgents took over the community. Defense headquarters disclosed this in a series of tweet messages from its Twitter handle. It said troops have not only pushed out the insurgents, but are also carrying out mopping up operations. Defense spokesman Chris Olukolade ordered that special forces are pursuing the fleeing insurgents, but there was still no independent confirmation on the report. Boko Haram insurgents took over Chibok early on Friday morning. The Borno State government says on its plan to enlist the services of local vigilantes, otherwise known as civilian JTF, to provide security in public schools ahead of the Monday, November 17 reopening date. Public schools in the state are expected to reopen on Monday after being shut on March 16th due to security challenges occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency. Chairman of the Committee on the Resuscitation of Primary School Education in the state, Mohammed Dongel, disclosed this in a meeting with education secretaries and headmasters of public schools in Maiduguri. Dongel said the vigilantes had already been contacted to provide surveillance in all schools. Dongel said the state government had also provided perimeter fencing in federal schools to prevent security breach. He ordered that food vendors in all schools would be thoroughly screened on a daily basis to prevent any incident, while also confirming that additional security measures had been taken to prevent any attacks. It said the state government had also provided logistic support in the shape of 2 utility vehicles to the vigilante to monitor activities in schools in Maiduguri and Jere local government areas of the state. Dongel, however, stated that only 4 schools in Maiduguri, Konduga, Jere and Bio local government areas would be reopened on Monday due to logistic reasons. As the issue of insecurity continues to remain on the front burner, Nigerians have been urged to be more security conscious and proactive. A university dean and head of the Department of Political Science at the University of Ibadan, Osisioma Nwolise, made this known while speaking on the state of the nation on the sidelines of a book lunch on good governance and the legislature.
Nigerians are not mobilized on security matters. We're not. We're atomized. If people are going to church and they see a black bag by the side of the door, everybody will leave it and go in. Nobody will say, what is in this bag? Even up to now, with all the explosions that have taken place. So we are not mobilized. People are not mobilized. We're too busy pursuing money, pursuing what we shall eat. And then that reminds me of an African adage. Our ancestors taught us that if somebody is too busy pursuing what he will eat, he will not be able to see what is coming to eat him. All right. So we need that training, we need that awareness. People have to be trained, people have to mobilize for security awareness so that we can always report promptly to security agents people or things that seem strange to us at any given time.
Over 20 people are feared killed today as the raging communal violence in Shabu headquarters of Shabu Development Area in Lafia local government area of Nasarawa State again erupted. Reports say trouble broke out around 12 midnight following a rumor on attack on Alakio village and environs by suspected Fulani militants, which had forced residents in the area to flee to Shuabu for safety. Angry mobs were said to have compelled commuters who were in transit to disembark, causing panic among several other commuters who were stranded during the fracas that lasted several hours before the arrival of security forces. Nasarawa State Head of Service Dominic Bako, who was caught up in the crisis, is said to be among several others who managed to escape with gunshot wounds and currently receiving treatment at the Dalhatu Araf Specialist Hospital, Lafia, the state's capital. Some unidentified dead bodies are said to litter parts of the bush where the crisis erupted. Houses and shops were said to have been set ablaze at Shuabu during the crisis, forcing hundreds of people to flee to Lafia, the state capital, and its environs. One person was reportedly killed at Tudun Quarry and 2 others arrested in Lafia metropolis following reprisal attacks. The renewed crisis came barely 24 hours after Governor Tanko Almakura led top echelons of his administration on a peace and unity walk in a 7-kilometer exercise to demonstrate the need for peace in parts as part of activities marking his 62nd birthday celebration. As the insurgency in northeastern Nigeria festers, the United Nations says the population of Nigerian refugees in a Cameroonian camp has tripled in the last 2 months. In a statement issued by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the organization cited Cameroonian authorities claims that about 13,000 Nigerian refugees crossed over from the Nigerian border state of Adamawa after Boko Haram insurgents attacked and captured the town of Mubi in late October. UNHCR warned that thousands of Nigerians who escaped the deadly threat posed by the terrorist group Boko Haram are fleeing into neighboring Cameroon. The organization said the refugees flee to Gouda and Gashiga town in the northern region of Cameroon and to Bouara, Mogode and Bukola in the far north. UNHCR, however, noted that in spite of the continued attacks, most of the recent 13,000 refugees in Cameroon have returned to Nigeria, with Yola, Adamawa state capital, as their destination. UNHCR said it is examining claims by the refugees that they had been forced to return to their country of origin as they re-entered Nigeria, adding that it was seeking assurance from both countries that the return of these people was done on a voluntary basis. The UN organization also said recent violence on the Niger-Nigeria border had prompted at least 1,000 Nigerians to escape into Niger's Boso area, particularly where the insurgents captured Malam Fatori last week. Chief Benjamin Nnamdi Azikiwe was one of the leading figures of modern nationalism. He served as the second and the last Governor General from 1960 through 1963. Remembering this great icon, the Ndigbo Cultural Society held the 18th National Edition of activities to celebrate the lives and times of one of the icons of Nigerian nationhood. Emmanuel Ajai's report is presented from our studios.
With the hall filled to capacity, obviously, full of many Ndigbo who will not forget the labor of one of the heroes of our past, Nnamdi Azikiwe. The ceremony attracted lots of dignitaries within Nigeria. Representing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Ben Obi says the late Zik, as is fondly called, is an icon of Nigeria's nationalism, saying that even in death, he lives on.
Zik was a detribalized Nigerian. His faith in the oneness of Nigeria was never shaken, and his wisdom was of the order of Solomon. These qualities placed him in an unequal pedestal, mystified him before the people of the extent that many thought that Zik could never die. Hence, a lot of us were not surprised that Zik died twice, resurrecting once from the ashes of unmitigated rumor mongering.
A chairman of the occasion and former head of state Yakubu Gowon says his contact with the late icon was a memorable one.
I had something to be within. So as I've said, this may be the result of direct encounters such as I had with him, or encounters captured from books, or from some form of oral history of the nationalistic exploit of Zik that is handed down to our younger compatriots over the years.
On the recent upsurge in the activities of the terrorist group Boko Haram, Director General of the Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bola Akiterewa, says consensus building is the key to solving conflicting interests of the Boko Haram insurgents.
And this, under this Jonathanic administration as well, and the concrete evidence is the national confab. He told them, please, he would like that you work, you discuss on the basis of consensus. He emphasized consensus. And where consensus wouldn't work, okay, have qualified majority. You will discuss, you will remember that when the national confab started, there was much debate as to whether it will be 75 or 70. So when you look at it, consensus is the issue. So the question is, what will Zik have done in this type of situation? He will have ensured that consensus building is focused upon.
As Nigerians continue to remember this great icon, it is important for everyone to build a legacy that will ensure the sustenance of the labors of people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, or Zik of Africa, as he was fondly referred to by his admirers.
Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation has unveiled Volumes 7 and 8 of the Nigerian Banking Law Reports. Former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Alfaba Gore, presented the new document at the weekend in Abuja. The retired jurist also commended the NDIC for sustaining the publication, which he said will go a long way to aid the development of the economy.
We applaud the efforts of the corporation to sustain publication up to date. It is no doubt one of the reliable means of disseminating knowledge of law and practice of banking in Nigeria to the general public. Finally, it is gratifying to note that Nigerian Banking Law Report is the only one of its kind in Nigeria and probably in West Africa. In terms of quality, it is one of the best in the annals of legal reports. Some of the features of the report which makes it stand out are: it is accessible and affordable. It is well focused within the set mission of its content. It is durable, well bounded, unfading. It is impregnable in identity. It lends itself readily to the need and activities of legal researchers.
It will interest you to note that NDIC, as a member of the Financial Sector Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, has been actively involved in promoting and distributing to financial and contributing to the financial inclusion, which is a tool for economic development, particularly in the area of poverty reduction, employment generation, wealth creation, and improving welfare through its mandate of deposit guarantee, supervision, and
And now to report outside Nigeria. U.S. President Barack Obama has condemned the killing of a U.S. aid worker, Abdul Rahman Kazak, as an act of pure evil. The Islamic State ISIS militant group released a video showing a masked man standing over a severed head, which the White House confirmed was Kazak. His parents say he died as a result of his love for the Syrian people. Kazak, 26, was taken while working for a refugee group as the fifth Western hostage to be killed by ISIS, which controls parts of Syria and Iraq. This is perhaps the most elaborate and graphic of all the murder videos posted online by ISIS. Much of it is taken up with a recent history lesson on Iraq and Syria, as seen through the eyes of the jihadist. But the later part shows the beheading of 18 Syrian prisoners in revolting, lingering details. Unlike earlier videos, this one reveals in gore among the boiler-suited captives murdered in cold blood is a man ISIS says is a former U.S. soldier, Peter Kazik, who converted to Islam and changed his name to Abdul Rahman. Neither his conversion nor the fact that he was helping refugees when he was captured a year ago appears to have saved him. Kazik's murder is a sign of frustration that his militants are unable to hit back at the coalition airstrike that have driven off key sites like the Mosul and Haditha dams and prevented them from seizing the town of Kobani. The U.S. president praised Kazik as a humanitarian and condemned ISIS for their inhumane acts. Obama's comment came as he flew back to the U.S. from the G20 summit in Australia. That's our news for this hour. Join us again. I am Gift Ogete.